Hi everyone, this is Steve with HomeStrung Jewelry.
And Debbie with HomeStrung Jewelry.
And today we're going to be showing you how to make the Doozy Friend, the Doozy doll, which we sent a free sample of in our... we sent one in the May Gemstone Orphanage subscription box. And we thought since we sent you the kit, we'd better teach you how to do it. Now we do have printed instructions, which I believe we sent a link to everybody.
Yeah, there's a card in your box that has a link on it where you can do a free download on this written pattern.
But we thought there's some little nuances and things that you might like to know about, and so we felt it was appropriate to do a video as well.
But just so you know, Colleen, who at the end of our Druzy box unboxing, she showed a couple of the Druzy dolls that she made up, one with red hair, one with blue hair. She called them Wilma and Betty, which I thought was really cute. And she did those from the instruction sheet only, since we hadn't finished the video yet.
Yeah, but some of you might be video learners, some of you might be paper and read it learners, some of you might like to do both, and so we have both available. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Everything that you're going to need is in the little bag, but you're also going to need some tools. First and foremost, you're going to need some form of glue. Now you can use a glue gun, which we've done, or we have found that this glue here, which is Beacon Fabric Tack, is about the best thing that we've seen for working with fabric, and it dries fairly quickly. It's very similar in finish and the way it works as a glue gun, with a lot less stringing
and a lot less burning.
Now you can get this at a lot of hobby stores. I know Michael's has it, but we'll also put a link, an Amazon link, down in the description for you to look at. But we've tried several different glues. This one dries fast, it bonds really well.
It works a lot like a liquid form of your glue gun glue. The downside is it dries out quicker than a lot of other brands of glue.
She's talking about in the bottle.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it comes with this little cap. The cap is kind of loose, and so what we do is put some sort of a pin, or in this case, I have created a wire that goes in here that seems to work a lot better than just the cap. But don't buy the giant, 24-ounce bottle.
No, I get the smallest one because the shelf life on this, I've used it in the past. Shelf life on this is, I don't know, maybe 6 months or something. It's just not like your Elmer's glue or your other types of glue. So
yeah, anyway, this is what we're going to be using today. For some of the models, as we were testing in that, we used the glue gun, which works just fine. However, I'm all healed up, don't have blisters anymore. I seem to get burned anytime I use it. Along with the glue, you're also going to need a pair of round nose pliers, probably chain nose pliers. They're just nice to have around. And then you're going to need a cutter, probably preferably a flush cutter as well. You're going to need a ruler just to measure the wire and different things. And I think that's about it for the tools, isn't it, Debbie?
Well, you'll need a needle and thread. They're not in your kit either.
Yeah, you're not going to have this in the kit. We're just using just a fabric thread and then just a standard needle.
And you could also use fire line and a needle that you like working your beading with. I've used both. They both work.
Yeah, now within the bag, we have everything that you're going to need other than the thread. In order to make this, you're going to need this little doll head bead.
It's a wooden bead.
It has the face already drawn on it.
I'm not very good at drawing faces, and the first time I saw anything close to this, it used just the round wooden bead, and some more skilled people were drawing the faces on. If you have a little bit of an artistic flair,
just turn it around.
You could turn it around and use the hair to cover the face and draw your own face.
Or if you like your doll with a blank expression, you just do that as well. Have the face on the back. We have a pom-pom, and this pom-pom is a little bit different. I mean, you're welcome In our experimenting, we did doozies with making our own pom-poms, as you can see. But this one has a filler inside, which helps it hold its shape, but it also allows us to push and work with it in order to, put an indentation in so that the bead fits a little better. It also has this little loop here, which we use to help fasten it into the head and to
the hole in the bead.
Yeah. I just lost it there for a minute.
I do recommend that you spend a few minutes working that pom-pom, loosening up the inside ball and that, so that it will be easier to fit and shape around the wooden bead.
Yeah, I find if you put it in the palm of your hand and just take your thumb right where that little cord comes out, that little loop, if you just push it in, rotate it around. I actually cut one of these apart because I wanted to see what was inside. Originally, I thought it was an actual ball, but it looks like somebody took fabric and stuck it into a blender and ground it up into, a compact form, and that's what they stuffed in here, and then put kind of a cloth fur around
Well, it has
the outside.
that, if you're familiar with the term, it has the pom-poms made from the minky type fur. It's really soft. They sometimes call it rabbit fur. So
anyway, you can see that just working here a little bit, I've got an indentation that'll fit with the head. But on with the materials. We have a bag of beads. You're going to need 60 to 75 of these beads.
These are my Yuki size 6 beads, and they are for your arms and legs. And you'll find 2 6mm onyx beads that are for the shoes, for her feet.
Or the feet. There's an entire bag in here of seed beads and some little glass pearls. The beads in here are also my Yuki, which you can use to make little decorations, little flowers. And in the printed instructions, there's a pattern on how to make these little flowers.
We'll show you real quick. You see the one up here in her hair? We made that, and then I put one here on the front of the bodice and one on the back of the bodice. You should have enough to make at least
there's 5.
5. And then there'll be a lot of extra beads left over. You can also make up your own little flower pattern. I hope I included enough that you'd be able to make, a different type of flower.
Yeah, I went ahead and I've already made a couple in here. But if we have time, we'll show it at the end. Otherwise, we'll have a link to another video. So you have those. You have a little length of, I guess this is a gathered ribbon or cloth, which you use to make the skirt. There's about 14 inches of very, very dead soft aluminum wire. This is the softest wire I've ever worked with. And then there's a little bag of all of the other materials that you're going to need to finish up the doll. Some of which want to come out of the bag, some don't. You've got your little Druzy ornament, which we'll put in at the very end. You have a crystal rondelle, metal and crystal, that we'll use for the neck piece. We have this little piece of metal that we're using for the body of the doll. There are other things that would work, but this one's just perfect. All the little bumps and cracks are in a good place to attach things. And then we have this little piece of, what do you call those little crystals?
It's called a rhinestone or crystal ribbon. It's self-adhesive with a really nice layering of the glue on it. So
yeah, we're going to use this to make the bodice for the doll. So anyway, give us a second to set up and we will start making the doll. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure the wire, and we're just going to pull this out, and we need
10 inches for your body, and is it 3 or 3.5 for the arms? For the arms.
Okay, so there's 10 inches. Get our cutters in there. And then set the other piece over there. It's usually about pretty close to the right size. Yeah, look at that. That's just under 3.5 inches. I think that'll be fine, won't it, Debbie?
Should work okay. Unless you want extra long arms.
I don't think it hurts to go a little long on the legs, but the arms, that might just look a little too bizarre.
Well, you can always trim your wire down, but you can't add more to it, so.
Yeah, first thing you do is take the wire, and you just want to bring the two ends together, and then you want to pull it down so that you have a small loop at the end. And you want to bring those wires together and pinch it enough that it will pull down through the doll head. And that one goes through just perfectly.
While Steve's getting ready for the next step, I want to mention that this aluminum wire is extremely soft. I actually cut through it one time with my round nose pliers because I was gripping it too hard. And so you may want to use nylon jaw pliers when you're working with it, or at least a gentle grip because it dents real easily and even, like I said, could be cut.
Yeah, and while Debbie's been explaining that, I'm still working with the head, getting the shape in there. Okay, so let's take the wire and we're going to stick it through the loop.
Just pull that pom-pom right up into the loop on the wire.
And then make sure you got your face turning the right way. You want the hair on top. And just run that down. And let's push that bead in there a little bit so that even without the glue or the fastener, it's going to look okay.
Once you get your body done and most of the doll done, you'll come back to the hair and work with it, but we'll show you that more towards the end.
All right, time to do the glue. Hell, I hate this part because there's no forgiveness at this point. Okay, what we're going to do is take the glue, get the hair back out of the way a little bit, and we're going to fill the glue into the hole just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to do a little ring around the bead.
Like I said, we'll come back at the end and put more glue on this bead and push the hair down around the bead, putting it more into place, shaping it so it looks more like hair. But for right now, we just want to be able to hold that pom-pom onto the wood bead.
And you can see I'm actually pulling that stretchy little loop down. And we're just going to give it a second for the glue to set. And then,
This glue will set in about 30 seconds, enough to continue working.
yeah, to fully mature it, it's going to take about 24 hours, but it'll be set enough to work in about a minute. So we'll be right back. All right, that's set. I think good enough to move on to the next step, which is also a glue step. We're going to be taking this little crystal rondelle, and we're going to be slipping that on.
Just for your information, the wire size that we're using is an 18 gauge, which tends to be approximately 1 millimeter. And since we have two wires coming down, the only thing about the neck piece is that it has to have a 2 millimeter hole so that both wires will fit through it.
Yeah, just test it out. The one we've got in the kit.
Yeah, the one in the kit works, but
See, it works.
I've used other beads in the past, and that was the only thing I needed to worry about, was that the hole had to be at least a 2 millimeter hole.
Yep, we're going to grab the glue again. And I'm just going to again put just a tiny bit around the edges here. Don't need very much.
Don't need too much, but you kind of want to circle that hole. And if a little bit of the glue falls down into the hole, it's not a problem at all. You want the goal here is to hold that neck piece in place so that it covers up the hole.
Yep. So just hold that there for a couple of minutes, and then we'll be back again. One quick note, when you're putting this little, this crystal rondelle, this little collar, make sure it's covering the hole. The hole in the bead is kind of big, and so make sure that it's pushed forward enough that it covers, you can't see the hole because that's a little bit distracting. But anyway, I think we've dried up enough that we can move on. We're going to take the two wires, and I'm just going to separate them a little bit front to back. And then we're going to bring in our 3.5 inch wire and just put it in here. And Debbie's going to push me back on camera. And this is a place where you can use the pliers. Don't use the round nose. You can use the pliers to squeeze it in a little bit, but I'm just going to use my fingers. And then we're going to put this other bead in. And you put the small end up. And run it up along the wires and push it up so that it holds that bead in place. Or excuse me, holds the wire in place.
You want to take a couple of minutes here if you need to move that, I think it might be called a guru bead. Anyway, the tube type bead needs to be as close to those arms as you can get it. If you decide to hold your leg wires with some pliers, like I said, keep in mind that it dents easy and bends, so just maybe hold it a little bit careful.
Yeah, and I'm not using the round nose, which will pinch that wire, and just pushing that up and seeing if I can get that a little bit tighter.
Yeah,
there it went.
There it went.
You heard that just click in. Now it's still gonna, wow, it's not sliding, Debbie. This is the best Doozy doll we've ever made right here. And I did it. So, you know, the clumsy co-host here.
So take your time, you know, and just kind of ease into it. So
forget taking your time. It's snapped in. This is great. Okay, one thing I do is to help hold that in place is I'm just going to separate these wires a little bit down below.
All right, so basically you have your body frame right now. You've got your arms, your legs, and your torso.
Yes, this is stick figure Doozy.
Yes.
Right here. If you like stick men, you're done at this point, but we're not going to do that.
So now you're ready to decorate the wires.
So we're going to dump out the beads right there. How many beads do we want on a side, Debbie?
It just kind of depends. The arms take anywhere from 10 to 12 beads on each side. You have to leave enough room on the ends to make a loop. And you want to measure at this point to make sure that that arm wire is pretty much dead center, that you're going to have the same amount of wire on each arm. Well, because you don't want 12 beads on your left arm and 10 beads on your right arm. So,
well, unless that's what you want.
It might look a little unbalanced if you did that. So,
I don't have a problem with being unbalanced. All right, looks like we're going to put about 10 to 12 beads on each side. And we don't need to worry about straightening it here at first. Let's start with 10 beads and see how it looks. And we should tell stories or campfire stories or something while we're doing this.
Well, I can mention a couple of ways I've used my little Doozy Friend doll. I have one sitting on top of my jewelry box, and I bent her arms at the elbow, pointing more in an upright position. One night when I was taking off some of my rings and jewelry, I was too lazy to put it into the box, so I just dropped the rings onto her arms and realized that she makes an excellent ring holder that way.
There's 10 beads, Debbie.
Okay.
You happy with that, or you want another one?
Let's go one more.
Okay. Now, these are Miyuki beads, which are fairly consistent in size. In some of our experimenting, we used other brands that weren't. And so you kind of, rather than do it by count, do it by measurement. But anyway, I've got, it looks like about a quarter of an inch.
A small loop. You want a really, really small loop here.
Okay, so here we use the round nose pliers. You don't have to squeeze real hard, just enough to hold on to the wire. And let's see, trying to show you what it looks like. There you can see one little loop on that side. Right. So that's going to hold the beads in. Now, hopefully, if I've measured correctly and haven't messed up, I should be able to get 11 beads on the other side as well.
I think some of the dolls we made have had 10. I think I cut the wire a little long on one and she actually got 12 beads on. So, like I said, remember you can always trim a little bit off your wire, but just like cutting hair, you can't put it back on.
All right, there we got 8, 9, 10, and 11. Am I good or am I good? Look at that. Got just about the right amount of wire.
Yep.
Take your round nose pliers again. And being careful to keep it on camera at all times, because that's the most important part of jewelry making. We're going to make a loop. There we go.
Okay, her arms are done.
Our Doozy has arms.
I wouldn't bend or fold them into position yet because you want them out of the way for when you're doing the bodice torso. So just leave them up and out.
Okay, now we do the legs, Debbie.
Now we do the legs.
Okay, we're going to do about twice as many here, about 20 to 22. And good catch, Steve. I have to compliment myself because no one else will do it.
Well, like you said, this could be our best doll yet.
Well, we've made like a jillion of them. There's 6. And again, you know, if you like a leggier doll, you can do whatever you want. Let's see, is that 20?
Remember, you've got to put the 6mm foot on.
Yeah,
so.
we got plenty there.
Yeah, I think you're okay.
Let's put a couple more on.
22 should do it, though.
Okay, and then here at the end, we have these little, I believe there's 6mm onyx beads, which don't have a hole in them. There it is. Okay, there's leg 1. And you have a couple of things you can do here. I'm going to trim it just a tiny bit, just to get a flat end. You can make a loop and just leave that loop, or I think I'm going to fold mine down. All right, let's do another loop.
Usually make a loop and then we kind of push it over so it's on the bottom of the bead as much as possible.
You can see how soft that wire is. I can do this with my fingers.
You can also add a tiny bit of glue to the bead when you position it if you want a little bit of extra security. We've done it both ways.
Okay, now we're just going to
do
the other one. One leg down.
One leg down, one to go.
Okay, we have a naked Doozy.
We have the body frame now complete with the beads on it.
Okay, what next, Debbie?
We're going to dress her.
Oh, wow.
And to dress her, you're going to start with the skirt, which is the piece of ruffled lace.
This is about 4 inches.
About 4 inches. If it's already got the ruffles in it like this one does, 4 inches is plenty. You can use plain ribbons like we've done on a few of the other dolls. And in that case, I think I cut 5 inches.
Now, you can layer it. This one comes with the lace attached, but you could do several ribbons, I guess, one on top of the other. Our prototypes, you can see this is just a plain ribbon with a lace edge. So I've got this. I need thread, I'm betting.
Okay, we're just going to use regular sewing machine type thread and a regular type needle. I would recommend cutting about 18 inches because we're going to use it folded in half, 2 strands. You want to be able to have tells on each end of your ruffle as you gather it.
Let's see if the flush cutters will cut the thread. We didn't bring, it did, because we didn't bring scissors out here.
Yeah, you may want to add just, a pair of small scissors to your tool list.
But flush cutters will do everything. And now we'll pause while I take about 20 minutes to thread this needle. Wow. I'm having a good day.
Okay. Bring the 2 ends together and tie a pretty good little knot in the ends, right at the very, very end of the thread.
I am not a sewer. Think a single overhand will be enough?
Here, I'll show you how I do it.
Debbie's going to do her magic knot.
No, this is the way most people learn to do it. Wrap it around once, roll it, and pull it tight, and you have a pretty good little knot right there.
Well, that's kind of an ugly knot, but it's big.
Well, it's going to get cut off, so.
Oh, gee. Okay, now we'll find out whether or not I bleed, I think. So what are we going to do with this? We'd have to bunch this together.
You're going to gather it even a little bit more. So you're going to weave the needle back and forth across the top in tiny stitches.
By tiny, you mean like, what, 1/4 of an inch?
Yeah, you don't want them much bigger than 1/4 inch. So just go, it'll be easier to work with the edge the smaller the stitches are.
Okay, and I started from the back, so I can put Debbie's ugly knot back there, which we're going to cut off anyway. I'm really not comfortable with this. I'm going to have to go out and do things with a chainsaw and heavy equipment after I'm done here.
Well, part of our thinking was that I would walk Steve through making this doll on the video so that people would know that it is something they can do.
Oh, so if Steve can do it, anyone can do it.
Well, maybe a little like that. When we did live classes, I used to have students comment, well, you know, you can do it, but we're not sure we can. So this is our attempt to show you that you can do this.
Yeah, plus Debbie doesn't like to stick her fingers and bleed, but she's okay with me doing it.
You might mess the ribbon up if you bleed, so I'd rather you didn't.
I'll try not to. But I'm the one that gets the burns while using the glue gun. It's the pinches. You can see I'm still healing from... This is why you don't get too close to your pliers, people.
I was going to say, that looks like a blood blister, a pinch.
It was. That's from the project on the next video. Okay, I'm just going to catch that at the end and pull this through.
Okay, pull it through, but leave about a couple of inches. Don't pull it clear to the knot, because you want to be able to manipulate both ends of the thread when you wrap this around the doll. So just kind of position your gathered skirt in the center of the thread, and then what you can do is you can cut the needle off. You can tie a knot if you want, but you're going to end up cutting them both off anyway. So
just the fact that I'm not using scissors shows that this is not my thing. All right, needle is free. And there is our mostly gathered skirt.
Yeah, so you want to cinch those gathers pretty close together, as tight as you can make them. They'll loosen up as you put it around the doll.
So just pull those tight.
But this gives her a really full skirt, and it looks really pretty on her. So when you get those gathers tightened up in the center of the thread, if you take a look, I'm going to move my hands in here for just a second while you hold that. If you take a look at this bead that we moved up into the torso, I picked this one because you see this round ball area. There's a groove right here at the top of that ball. And the idea is to bring your thread that you just used for gathering the skirt into this groove, flip her around to the back, right here where the skirt will open, and you're going to tie 2 or 3 overhand knots really tight to try to trap that skirt right into that groove. That really helps hold the skirt in place so that it's not sliding up and down.
Okay, so that's the next thing I'm supposed to do.
That's the next thing.
Okay. So we'll bring the Doozy in. Pull that around. And I've got thread everywhere. Let's pull that tight on both sides. I'm going to set it down here.
You almost have to set her down. And then find your 2 double ends and just start with 1 overhand knot and pull it really, really tight, trying to make sure that the thread is lined up to stay in that groove.
Well, we're going to do
that bead.
A left over right, and I think I'm going to do a surgeon's knot.
Pull this tight first. Pull it all the way down. And then kind of see if you've got it tight enough that it's in that groove.
Well, it looks like it's... Ooh, extra hands coming in.
That's pretty good. It doesn't look like it's going to fall off. So I'll just get those gathers nice. There. No, there.
I'm bringing us into the camera.
Okay, pull tight again. Okay, so it's positioned right in that groove. Now, without loosening it up, tie another knot.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't let me do the surgeon's knot, the friction knot. So Let's do a right over left now. And I've got my glasses off, so I can't see worth a darn. Well, we got one of them here. Let me start again. There we go. And we want a couple more knots. Is that right?
Probably tie another knot. This needs to be secure, and this is really the only security that the skirt has for staying, you know, on the doll. Now, if for some reason you feel your gathers are just too bulky, you could trim a little bit off one end of your lace and ruffled trim before you start gathering it. And that'll give you maybe a more manageable amount of gathers.
Yes, people. If you suffer from bulky gathers, we have the solution here today.
Okay, now trim it, but don't...
Let's look how it looks first. Oh, it's not too bad.
See, she's got a pretty skirt there.
So when you say trim it, you're talking about the threads?
Trim the threads, but not right at the knot. Go ahead and leave yourself maybe half an inch, because we're going to tuck them inside and then glue the two sides of the skirt together.
Yep, and we will use
so at least a half an inch. Because again, this will help keep the threads from pulling out through your knot. And it makes it easier to pull the ends, the opening of the skirt over those threads when you go to glue the skirt if your ends are a little longer.
So, we do anything with those ends? We could glue them.
Well, I just said what you do is you take the ends and you fold them down.
Get it over there.
You fold the ends down inside, and then you want to glue your skirt ends together, kind of trapping your thread ends. And it's easier to do if you leave a little longer thread ends. I usually fold the side of the skirt that's...
Yeah, if you bring it here, we can show everybody.
Bring the side of this... Well, I can't look at the camera. I have to look at what I'm doing. I fold the one side down, and then I'm going to put a couple of little spots of glue up and down that seam to hold that closed.
Okay, so I've got my glue now.
Yeah. So I'd put a little bit right in here.
Right there.
Too far away.
Well.
This is where it shines, this fabric glue. If you saw, I just ran a little bit right down that seam, coming all the way down to the end here. I'm just tucking it under a little bit.
I need a little bit more glue.
Yeah, I'll need a little bit more right
here.
Right in here. And then pinch that down together so that it holds like that. There we go.
Okay.
We have a closed
Hold on to that for
back.
a minute. And I am going to clean off the end
All right.
of the glue a little bit.
That looks really cute. I'm going to set her down.
And I guess it's time to bodice her. Got any tips on using the tape, Debbie?
No, but we tried this, taking the tape off, putting the center.
The peel off the back?
Yeah, putting the center here on the front, folding the two ends around, and found that it's easier if you take the tape off and you start on the back side on one side I haven't taken the tape off yet, but I'm going to take the tape off and then I'm going to wrap this around the doll. And as you wrap, you want to trap the top of those skirt ruffles.
Yeah, so we trap the ruffles underneath that.
And you come clear around. And then the adhesive that's on this...
On the tape?
On the tape is quite malleable. And so you can really work with it to...
Oh, okay, I'm ready to do this.
But you want it to close together here in the back. And it might overlap a tiny bit.
We can try
and
it.
You can either trim it or allow it to overlap a little bit. But the idea here is that you want to trap the top portions of this ruffle in under this, so you have this look to it. Okay.
And it looks like our arms have gotten a little loose from everything that we've done here. So make sure the skirt's down around that
ball,
that bump in the bead. Going to go to the back side. And the glue doesn't string, but it sticks to your fingers. I will say that. All right, we're going to take this and peel that back off. And then starting right here, I'm going to cover that ruffle and bring it around to the front. Trying to keep it tight while I'm doing it. Boy, that's sticky stuff. And then back around to the back and try to push that together. I guess we just work with it a little bit.
You work with this a little bit. You want to push the upper part because that's going to be narrower, a little bit tighter against your torso bead. It'll be a little bit wider as it goes around the skirt ruffle. When you've got it shaped about the way you want it, you will use a little bead of glue where the back, on the back side where your two ends come together to keep them together and against the back.
Okay. So a little bit of glue right along there.
You just want to seal that whole thing together, the two ends, seal it to the back of the skirt there.
Okay, so just a little bead of glue there and down below. It's in the back, so go crazy, people.
Yeah.
And I try to keep my fingers out of it, which I don't think is possible.
This was probably the only place where a glue gun might be superior to the liquid glue in that it will dry a lot faster and you don't have to sit and hold it for a minute.
Yeah, on the other hand, it dries so fast sometimes that it can become a bit of a problem. Okay. It's not tacky anymore. And it looks like one of our beads got trapped in there, which is okay. We can fix that later on. One thing I've noticed is if this becomes loose like it has here, all you have to do is just take your pliers in there and just tighten those loops a little bit. And you can tighten those arms back up, which I think is what happened over here. There we go.
Okay.
All right.
She's almost done.
There's more?
Well, at this point, the only two things left to do is to play with the hair, to bring it down around the bead a little more, and to make a link out of your Druzy so that she's holding something in her hands.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
So there's the Druzy. This is what makes her a Druzy Doozy doll, because she's holding a Druzy.
Okay, so we need a little piece of wire. I've got some extra of the aluminum wire, but you could definitely use something else.
And make very, very tiny loops on the end.
Then I'm assuming we thread it through. And we'll need to cut that. About just under a ½ inch probably.
And any piece of wire will work here. And
yeah, just scrap wire. There may not be enough on the aluminum wire.
Probably need a good 1¼ inch, maybe 1½ inch. But you just need enough to make 2 little loops. Then what you're going to do is treat those loops like a jump ring, open them up, and put them inside the loops that form the hands. And that way she can hold on to that Druzy bead and it won't drop or get lost.
So I'm going to open these up a tiny bit. And let's grab Miss Doozy's arms.
I would bend them at about where you would position an elbow. Bring them together that way.
I'm going to face them both the same way, somewhat. So we bring one in. And close that loop. I probably should be using 2 pliers here, but this is soft
I was going to
enough.
say, this wire is so soft, you probably do it with your fingers almost.
But it's
almost.
It's sharp. I punch. My fingers already wide, you know, already got scars. Yeah, sorry, I'm going off the camera here a little bit, because that doesn't want to open for me or close for me.
There you go. I think you got it. Okay, so there she's holding her little Druzy bead.
Okay, a couple of things. Now, I'd probably tighten these loops up a little bit more, which I can do afterwards. So what do we need to do to finish her up? I mean, basically she's done.
Okay, I'll show you kind of how I play with the hair to do it. I mean, if you like the way it looks here, just the way it is,
then quit.
That's fine. But I like to bring the back down a little more. So I'm going to turn her over, move the fur on the pom-pom up as much as I can, bring my glue in, and just...
Now bring the tip right down to the ball, otherwise you get the glue up in the hair.
And then just kind of squiggle it along the back here a little bit.
Or a lot.
Or a little bit. Yeah, I got quite a bit. And then use my fingers to really push that pom-pom down around the bead. I'm going to have to hold it longer than you would hold it with a glue gun. But I want it to just really grab that hair and bring it down and around. So there's part of it. And then I like to maybe do a little bit on the sides here too. I can see where I could put a little bit of glue right.
Here's glue.
Steve keeps moving my glue around on me.
Well, she keeps laying it down.
So I put just a little bit down in here. And again, I'm pushing the hair down onto the glue. I need to hold it. Count to 30.
Yeah, hold it for at least 5 hours, right? You're in this position. No, it just takes a second to set.
I'm going to release it, and you can, as you can see what's happening here is that some of the hair is starting to stay down around the bead, which is the look that I wanted.
Okay, looks like you need to do a little on that other side.
Yeah, she needs a little bit right here. And again, take your time, work with little small amounts of the glue. Push it down into the glue, hold it, count to 30. This is where I need echo.
Anyway, you need your Alexis dot.
Yeah. That kind of holds it.
Yeah, if any of you don't have an Alexis device, these are great for setting time. You just say Alexis, set a timer.
I'm pretty happy with that. You can see the hair is now coming down more around the bead. It's down more in the back. We can put a few of the embellishments on,
which I think I have.
And again, the pattern for making those little flowers is part of the instruction sheet that you get.
There's one right there.
They're extremely simple. You just thread the pearl onto a needle, and you just bring the little seed beads. I chose 2 different colors.
Yeah, the big eye needles and Fireline work great for this. Let's put that one on, Debbie, here on the front.
Okay. Where you want to put the embellishments, and on a couple of the dolls when we first started doing this, I actually had bought some little acrylic type flowers and then decided that I wanted to use the glass beads to make these. So you'll want to put one right here on the front. So you'll want to put some glue at the top of the torso. I've got her neck piece off of alignment. There we go. So you'll want to put one right here, because what it does is it hides the gap where the arms are. And then I turn her over and do this. You can see the gap here on the back. Again, I will put an embellishment right here on the back, a little flower. And then we can do, I probably will put one up in her hair.
Yeah, you can see it on this one here.
Type thing. You can put them on at the waist. If you wanted 2 of them, you could put it on the skirt. Just have some fun with it.
Let's put the one.
But let's put
the one on the neck there, Debbie.
The ones on the neck that you made 2 flowers. Let's put one on the front and one on the back. And again, I'll have you do it.
Oh darn! I thought I'd gotten out of this. All right, which one do we want where? I got kind of a purpley one, and I've got kind of a pinky orange one. That's real noticeable. Which one do you think?
I bring it down so you can still see the neck. And you don't want to glue it to the arms. You want to glue it to the torso piece.
Okay.
So I like the purple one on the front.
So let's put that right in there in those little crystal pieces.
Oh, it does string.
Yes, it does string. I know. Okay, so we're just going to hold that in place there. You can still see the crystal rondelle, the neck piece. And Debbie forgot to silence her phone.
But you just want the edge of the flower to come up to that crystal to hide that gap in the arms. And again, if you have some type of a flat cabochon or an acrylic flower or something, even maybe a bead. Bead might be a little bulky.
I think little charms. Like a butterfly charm would look cool down here or up in the hair. I mean, heck, you could use spray glitter on her hair, couldn't you?
Yeah. I like that idea. And she could have colored tips. They now have, colored glitter in spray cans, and there you go.
Okay, there she is.
There's the front, put one on the back. Those are the only two that you really kind of need to put on the doll. And again, that's just to hide the gaps. And then you can position the legs. She can cross her legs. She can be made to sit on something.
Yep, it's wire. You can move it wherever you want.
Let's see her eyes. Move her hair up a little bit.
Yeah, get her hair out of her eyes. Brush your hair back, young woman. Okay, so there is your Doozy Friend or Doozy doll. And she's actually looking pretty good.
She looks really cute. She'll end up on our website. We will have some extra kits available on the website. We'll have them on sale for a few weeks here because of her being an introductory. Steve has been enjoying well, the discussion of how we can do additional dolls down the road. We're thinking we might do a patriotic red, white, and blue version of her. And he's really getting excited about maybe a Halloween version. We talked about doing a Christmas angel. So you may want to check the website periodically to see if we put other versions and designs up for sale on the website and get a collection of all of them going.
Yeah, as you make these, go ahead and post them on our Gemstone Orphanage Facebook group. Just kind of hashtag Doozy Friend, or show us your Doozy on there. I'd be excited to see, where you've taken your Doozies and where you've put them.
Yeah, share with us if you go to the trouble of making the kit up. Share with us the result and how you plan to use her. So
anyway, that's it for today. If you like this, click the like button. Go ahead and click on the subscribe and ring the bell so that you'll be notified of any future videos that we're going to do. And in the meantime, we just appreciate you being here today, and we'll look forward to seeing you again in the future.
This is Debbie saying bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.